LaxFactor podcast. What is up, college lacrosse fans? You are watching the 73rd episode. This is the third episode in a row, third episode this week. If you're watching this, it's Wednesday. Today, we are going to talk about the Yale and Syracuse scrimmage that was in Syracuse this weekend that I attended on Sunday. It was an excellent scrimmage. Both teams went balls to the wall throughout. Before I get into it and tell you how everything went, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and as always, you can go to LaxFactor.com. We have hats, t-shirts. You can get some swag, coffee mugs, whatever, to try to support the channel that way if you would like. The scrimmage was awesome. I was excited to get to see TD Erlin. I was excited just to get to see Yale in general being the number 3 team in the country at the time. And so just a number 3 versus number 5 matchup, it was good to see. Takeaways. And from the Syracuse side of it, takeaways was offensively. The week prior, a lot of the offense was funneled through that first midfield line. Totally different look this week. In the scrimmage against Yale, a big chunk of the offense was funneled through the attackmen, and it was very apparent that Griffin Cook is feeling really good about himself right now because arguably you'd say just by watching the scrimmage, he looked like the best player on the field potentially. And I'm talking out of everybody that played offense that day, Griffin Cook looked like he could potentially be the best player on the field. So I got a chance to talk to him after the game and ask him specifically, do you actually feel as good as you have looked on the field? And this is what he said. Are you as confident as you look out there while you're running around?
Yeah, I feel like we're all pretty confident. We're getting there. Limited all of our mistakes, which helps a lot, and our shots are starting to fall.
How has it been trying to get used to playing with Rafis and Scanlon so far?
It's been good. It was a little bit of a transition at first, coming from up top last year, going back behind, but I played attack last year in practice, so we were building that chemistry through the whole year last year and this whole year, so I think it's clicking a little bit.
Another good thing to see was Chase Scanlon getting involved. He wasn't quite as involved in the Vermont scrimmage, almost not at all, and in this scrimmage here against Yale, he was very involved, took a lot of beatings, but he went to the rack, carried the ball, he fed the ball, so Scanlon in general, he looked like he's starting to come into his own, like he's starting to get comfortable within this offense, playing with all of these guys. And as you heard Griffin Cook talk about, they've been practicing, they've been on the field together, so they're starting to click here at this point. So that was good to see Scanlon get involved. Another thing that was interesting to see, Porter struggled. That was interesting. Porter did not have a great outing, and he took the first half. And then number 27, off the top of my head, I'm not sure of his name, the backup. He actually played really good in the second half for Syracuse, but Porter did struggle in that first half. In the first half when all the starters were playing, and then all the starters played through the third as well. Defensively, Syracuse looked tough. Once again, Kennedy played close. I think they started DiPietro down at close also with Mellon. And they were doubling people all over the place. If you turned your back, they were doubling, beating people up, chasing people all over the field. So that was also good to see. I got to talk to Mellon. Are you delighted to be rocking 11 right now, or were you a little torn having to give up the 2-1?
Well, honestly, I'm being honest. I love 21. You know what I mean?
That's what I figured.
That was a number I wore for 4 years. You know what I mean? That was a number that was the number that I came into Syracuse with, and was working my butt off to make a name for myself. So 21's always, going to be there in my heart. Austin Fusco wore number 11 the previous 2 years.
Yep.
So when he asked me if I wanted to, take on, the responsibility to wear this and to, deal with the things that comes with it, I said absolutely. I would wear it. I would take it with pride and, try to wear it the best I can.
I don't remember seeing you guys play that aggressively on defense where a guy turns his back and you guys are just raging on them with double teams. So has that been a concerted effort to try to be a little more aggressive this year?
I think we just realized that our close D is very athletic. From me to Brett Kennedy to Jared Fernandez to Nick DiPietro to Andrew Helmer. And then our D middies Peter Dirth, Brandon Avilas, Damiela Demoye, Spencer Small. We got some guys that can fly around. You know what I mean? So I guess we haven't been practicing. We got to be more aggressive. I think it's just we realized we have confidence in our athletic ability to be able to do some things that maybe slower guys can't do.
Yep.
And the best way to put it. So I think the more we have games like this where it's intense, up and down. the better we'll be. The better we'll be. You know.
And the crease dive guys, they were talking about how Drake Porter is going to continue to have the best hair on the team, and I dispute that. I think that Trimboli is in the running. So Trimboli or Porter?
To be honest with you, I don't know. I have my lockers right next to Trimboli, and I see the care he puts into his hair.
It's slick, man.
I gotta give him the nod. You know.
All right, so we'll talk to Barstool Jordy about that. And at the Faceoff X, that was something that we all wanted to see. How was Syracuse going to handle Yale, TD Ierlan, and how would these Faceoff units do? Syracuse more than held their own. Fopp looked the best for Syracuse overall. And in fairness to TD, even though the overall Cuse got the best of him, I believe that he didn't take every face-off, so he wasn't in his normal TD flow. He was getting 2 or 3 at a time. They'd give someone else 1 or 2, and then he'd come back and take 2 or 3 more. I think if they let him take the first 6, 8, 10 face-offs of that game, he doesn't lose any after that, because that's kind of what he does. He'll dial it in, and then once he's got you figured out, you are done after that. But Syracuse's face-off unit looked good. They did double pull the wing. They brought Kennedy up. They brought Fernandez up, so they had them both on the wing, and they put Dearth down low. But in all, Syracuse, their face-off unit did a good job. They played admirably against Yale. On the Yale side of things, one of the things I was most surprised about is that Starr looked incredible. He got the whole first half. He was definitely the best goalie that day. I think last year, almost everybody would have taken Porter. Let's say you took both goalies regular seasons and you said, hey, who do you want? If you're going into the playoffs, do you want to take Drake Porter? You want to take Starr? I think you're taking Porter. Most people would. He had a better save percentage. He was a little bit less streaky, a lot less streaky than Starr. Starr tends to be a very streaky goalie. Starr was solid. He made a lot of really good saves, a lot of saves I didn't think he should make. Syracuse took some popcorn shots at times, but Starr was always there up to the task. So Starr looked really good. Pretty much all the goalkeeping on the day outside of Porter's rough outing was pretty good. Porter will be fine. It's just a scrimmage, and he proved that he's consistent and he's a gamer, and he'll be ready to go. But I thought that was good for Yale, that Starr looked as good in cage as he did. Yale defense, they were mean. They were bullies. At one point, I think Fake blasted Scanlon, knocked Scanlon on his ass, and ended up getting a penalty for it. And there was a little bit of crap talking that ensued afterwards. But Yale defensively looked really good. Offensively, they mixed it up a lot. So they didn't look as crisp as I would normally expect Yale to look. But Yale, this was, I believe it was like only their second time out on a field, because the Ivy League gets a later start than everybody else, and they only have team or captain practices or leading into this scrimmage every season. So Yale hadn't, Syracuse has a head start. Syracuse has already gotten some action, and Yale hadn't. But offensively, Yale still looked good. They weren't as crisp as you would think, but they're going to be fine. So overall, both teams, though, look good. I believe at the end of 3 quarters, it was 12-11 Yale. So Yale technically in the 3 quarters that they played the starters got the 1-goal win. The 4th quarter, Syracuse came out. A lot of Syracuse fans are saying, hey, we beat Yale up in a scrimmage. 4th quarter, the Cuse bench versus the Yale bench. Yes, Syracuse murked them, but what are you going to do? Syracuse has a little bit more depth. That's the only thing that proves. But the reality was, after 3, it was still anybody's game. Both teams looked really good on the day. Both teams tried to kill each other throughout the evening, and that was awesome to watch. And that's it. So Syracuse, they're going to play Colgate here coming up, and I believe Yale, who does Yale start with? Villanova is who Yale usually starts with, and Villanova's a tough team too, and they like to upset people. So Cuse has Colgate on Friday. So I will not be attending that one. That'll probably be the only Cuse game that I actually don't attend this season, but I'll be watching it on TV. So we'll cover that here coming up, the Yale matchup and the Syracuse matchup against Colgate. We'll cover those on Thursday's show, the college lacrosse weekend preview that you'll see on Thursday. So as always, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching, and enjoy.